Well, hey guys, the most popular cartridge in a recent little survey on the community tab that you guys wanted to talk about was this 358 Winchester. So I thought, let's do it. So my history with the 358 Winchester is about 20 years of history. And I don't really know why, but about 20 years ago, just my passion for reloading and shooting. And I was kind of looking to expand into a bigger diameter. Up until that point, the biggest diameter I'd run was 30 caliber. And I started researching, and as a fan of the 308, as you guys know, I quickly landed on the 358 as something I wanted to expand to. And so what I found, though, was there were no rifles available chambered in 358. And yeah, you could find used ones. Most of them were really old. And that's fine. That would have been an option. But as luck would have it, around that same time, Ruger made a limited run of their M77 Hawkeyes in 358 Winchester. And they did it in 264 Win Mag also, and I picked one of each up. Sadly, I no longer have that 264. Regrettably, I sold that. But I do have the 358 Winchester in the Ruger M77 Hawkeye stainless. And it's around 20 years ago. I think you could look that up. That limited run didn't last for long. And I don't know how many they made, but it feels to me like it was around 2006 or so that I might have some of that in my load data here. Let me see. Wow, I might actually have that, guys. Maybe 09. Maybe it was 09. So not quite 20 years ago when I picked that rifle up. And right away, I recognized also there was a real shortage of factory ammo, only Hornady. Some specialty places like Buffalo Bore was doing it. And maybe there was one other, but it was just Hornady producing factory ammo. And I got some of that to start, but immediately I went and got brass dies so I could load for it. And for a period of time, I was loading and dinking with it a lot and having a lot of fun with it. To be honest, that Ruger never, it's a rifle I won't get rid of. My son will have to deal with that rifle someday, but it's never been, I haven't landed on some, wow, there's a half MOA load with this rifle. Lots of MOA 1-inch type stuff. But I just had a bunch of my load data here, and I thought we'd talk about some of that really quick. And I apologize, guys. This is kind of one of those talking head videos. I didn't dig my rifle out of the safe to show that. I figure if we do a project, 358 Winchester, that's obviously the rifle we'll use. But a couple interesting things that I think, and maybe I'll flip the camera around and just show you what some of these load books say. Look at the Nosler manual, guys, and this is the old, I think this is what, the number 3, right? This was one of my first reloading books, and I still use it a ton. This was before a lot of Nosler's data got really conservative. They still used longer barrels than what most rifles are, even back then, but nonetheless. So here's what's interesting about the 358, right? There's even handgun bullets. You can load it with handgun bullets and have fun with it that way too. It's kind of weird, and I've never done that. Thought about it because I do reload for the 357 Magnum, which is the same bullets. But anyway, just some velocities here that they're talking about with the 225 grain. You can see there they've got some over 2,500. That's a compressed load of 48.95. And I don't know if Nosler has, no, that was it, just that. So 2,500 with a 225 grain bullet, that's bringing some serious business. Let's jump over here to the, I've got a scope holding this open for me, over to the Spear manual. And one thing that's really impressive about this cartridge, you look at this 180 grain spear bullet. And you can see that in the 180 class, we're breaking 2,700 here with a couple different powders, quite a few different powders. And this is a 22-inch barrel that that spear used in this manual. This is spear number 11. There again, they're showing some of the handgun bullets as well. And then if you follow through on this, spear goes clear up to the 250s, okay? And you can see there, you're looking at 2,300 or so for those really heavies. In the 220 class, some 2,500s, hitting 2,500 or so a little bit. And some of my own data, let me just kind of read off some of that here really quick. I've got a bunch. So one really cool load that I came up with just, it looks like about 6 years ago, January of 2019, was I played with the Hornady 200 grain FTX. And that was actually made for kind of the tubular magazine rifles where it has a soft rubbery tip so it's not going to hurt the primers in front of it in the tube. But I was like, that should work really well in a bolt action rifle also. And I got those 200 grainers to almost 2,700, and there was no pressure. I just didn't go any further. I was getting about 1.5 MOA with those 200 grainers according to my notes. So that's a pretty cool load. And then let's see, I don't know if there's anything else here we're talking about. 4895, 3031 were all powders that I was having really good luck with. And tack was really giving me some good results in the 358 moving forward. So, you know, I have everything to start this back up. I actually have several hundred rounds of brass. I have a ton of different 358 bullets to work with. I was using a lot of Spear. I was using some Sierra and some Nosler. And then these Hornadys in that FTX was really fun. So one of the things about this cartridge is bullet type, right? There's also some AccuBonds out there. I would never use those guys because this cartridge doesn't generate enough velocity that I would count on that AccuBond to reliably expand. It's just not a high velocity opportunity at all. Now, it is interesting to know that I have come across some 180 grain factory loads that are pretty jacked up on velocity from Buffalo Bore. Were those Buffalo Bore or Double Tap? I can't remember. There was one manufacturer that had some pretty hot lower 180s. I don't know, to me this cartridge was kind of designed for something a little more than 180s. I kind of like that 225 grain offering in this. So I think what I'll do here is just insert maybe a couple screenshots of some ballistic performance, exterior ballistics that, based on some of these velocities I've got, what would this bullet be like in a hunting scenario? Again, the way I hunt, right? I'm not going to shoot beyond 300 or 350. So what's our trajectory like there? What's our energy like? And I can just tell you from experience, like, you know, they start to drop off pretty quick. They're lower BC. And right away I noticed, you know, you're not, even compared to a 308, you're losing some trajectory quicker. But I'll tell you what, and I'll leave you with this thought, and we'll do some more on the 358 Winchester because I think it's a really overlooked, awesome cartridge. Frontal diameter matters when it comes to terminal performance. I don't say this to brag at all, and I just say it as a background of the context of the experience I have. I have over 200 big game kills using everything from a 243 to this 358 and everything in between. And I can tell you with certainty that the large heavy bullets, there's just, for what, they might even have less energy, mathematical energy, but there's something about them that imparts a lot of devastation to these critters. And you guys are probably smarter than me on that, but it's just a true statement. So I love the heavy diameters. I love 338 diameter. I'm super regretting that I didn't get into 338 Federal when it came and there were lots of rifles and brass. Now it looks to me like getting into it would be a nightmare. You couldn't get a rifle except maybe something used, which isn't bad, but brass is kind of tough. And I don't know, but to me the 338 Federal would be an awesome cartridge. Anything based off the 308 case, right? 243, 260, 7mm08, which we're doing that project right now, the 308, the 358, the 338, all of those are awesome. And one question, why has there never been a 270 08? Or has there been? Let me know.